Morning, children of God.
Good morning, Rob.
What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. How many of you thought it was spring on your way in this morning? Yay. Calendar may not think so, but according to others, it's happening. We got a warning for those of you who live in Ashland. The bears have woken up early this year, so pay attention. I don't know why I felt I needed to share that with you. Just kind of one of those welcome to spring kind of things. Oh, I know why. It's because of this. To bring anything into your life, imagine it's already there. Including bears. I can barely stand this. Let's go on. You'll bear with me. Heard that coming. Can we start again, Steve? Just asking. Joy is the name of the game, as you'll find out as we move forward. But one of the things that we do want to do is let's begin this celebration as we stand and sing in the silence. O loving Father, Mother God, we acknowledge your presence in this moment. We are grateful for this day. We are grateful for the opportunity to come together. This day we choose to be open and receptive and responsive to your instruction and to your guidance. This day we choose to live in the name, in the nature, in the power of the Christ. Amen.
Please be seated. Now we will have the reading of the daily word, and today's daily word is joy. It's going to be read for us by Terry.
Joy. The universe celebrates itself through me. If ever I question my purpose in life, I may find the answer in knowing that life is a purpose unto itself. I am alive. I am living, and that is enough. My life is an expression of the divine. I am divine consciousness manifested in human form, capable of sensing, perceiving, and expressing. Through my senses, I perceive creation. Through my feelings and actions, I express love, drawing good into my life and the lives of others. With joy, I celebrate the miracle of life. The universe celebrates itself through me. I am its instrument of expression. It sings itself into my soul. You are alive, whole, and loved. By saying yes to life, I joyfully celebrate God's greatest gift, life itself. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Job 8:21.
Just saying. Because we have an awful lot of fun here in working together to bring you into a vibratory position where you remember who you are. Sometimes through words, sometimes through music, sometimes through a little dance. Whatever it takes is to remind you of who you are. Let's take our statement together. I am a child of the living God. I have within me the all-creating power of the Christ. It radiates from me and blesses all whom I contact. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I am now in the presence. Let's rest in that as we prepare for meditation. I believe in you. With each breath I take, I hold the truth. I believe. I trust. I have faith. As we have stilled our body, we now quiet our mind. And we bring our attention to the truth of who we are. Gently, easily, effortlessly. With each breath I take, I choose to move to that place in consciousness that Jesus called my secret place, my inner closet. Here, in this still place, I set aside all those thoughts and feelings of what I should have done, those thoughts and feelings of what I have yet to do this day, and for one holy moment I rest. I affirm my oneness. I breathe. And as I exhale, I let go of that which no longer serves me. I breathe. I listen. Here in the stillness, in the silence, answers come. This day, I choose to reach out and claim the gifts that come to me. I've asked for them, and they come to me wrapped in love. As I embrace them, I feel this love permeate each and every cell of my being. I am lifted up. Each and every cell of my being re-energized, revitalized, renewed. In this moment, I am whole and well, regardless of appearance. I hold this truth. I breathe it. I live it. In affirming our oneness, to those we hold in prayer, we say, I love you. Peace, be still. Regardless of appearance, I am there. We affirm the truth of us. We are channels through which good flows into our world. In this moment, I choose to open that flow from me, through me, into my world. Those gifts which have come to me, I freely send on their way, knowing there is no lack nor limitation. Through God, all things are possible. From me, through me, into this place, with other thought of like mind, we grow in strength and in power. From this place into our community, touching each and every one of God's children. I love you. Across our state, touching each and every one of God's children. I love you. Across our country, reaffirming our oneness. Regardless of appearance, I am there. I love you. Around our world, throughout our universe, touching each and every one of God's children. I love you. Knowing we are never separate one from the other. Somewhere, someone is saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, for in this moment, love is exactly what I needed. I am grateful. That gratitude swells up, flows from them to you. The circle of life is complete and whole. I love you. I breathe. I feel this flow continue from me and to me, through me. Experiencing oneness, I rest for one holy moment. Knowing there is more yet for me to do this day, holding to this experience gently, easily, I bring my attention back to this now, to this when, to this place. And from my heart, I join with you and pray as Jesus, our elder brother, has taught us when he said, "As for you, pray therefore in this manner." If you've never read any of Emmett Fox's work, thunder into the library and do so. He was a contemporary of Charles Fillmore's. He is one of those who was instrumental in the writings of our friends of Bill, which is why if you're familiar with that program, you go, I recognize a lot of those things about forgiveness. I recognize a lot of those things about getting in touch with the truth of who I am and knowing who my God is and my relationship to God. It is that foundational work that gets done. And it's a pretty good read on top of it. And some of his stuff is just, it sits in my mind on a regular basis. The Sermon on the Mount is one of my favorites. He really plays with that one well. Because he looks at things from a different perspective. And that's part of what our journey is all about, is beginning to learn how to look at things from a different perspective. And may I humbly suggest it's not the one you've been taught. There's nothing wrong with the perspective you bring into the moment. It's yours. Take ownership. But there's more to it than that. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. 2 factors. There's a ton of them, but these are 2 that we're going to talk about this morning. Is that a thought is comprised of 2 parts, one of which is so important we repeat it twice. Thought is comprised of knowledge and feeling, and both must be present. A thought or knowledge rather, in and of itself, with no feeling, A thought with only feeling is not based on fact, because there's no knowledge. So we need to put that balance to work. But guess what? It doesn't matter whether it's true or not as long as you feel that way, which is why feelings is so important. As a second factor, we repeat it twice. Why? There are 4 things that we need to put in factors. We're only talking about 2 of them this morning. Thought, feeling, word, action. That's what comes into manifestation. But it begins in thought. Begins in thought. So we need to take a little knowing and add feeling. What feeling do you think would produce the best results in your life? If you have a feeling to express, what feeling do you think would produce the best results in your life, coupled with any piece of knowledge? Love. Works for me. I like that one. Yeah, love. Because love dissipates fear. So if I can couple knowing with love, then the fear part of it goes away. Then whatever shows up, whatever reports you receive, then dissipate. And you get to choose how your life's going to be. I watched a follow-up story this morning about a fellow in North Carolina who has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And his doctors told him, what? Ding dong, you're going to die. Right? And so he had a bucket list. And one of the things on his bucket list was to bring joy as much as he could, as long as he lived. And so he coupled up with Dunkin' Donuts. And he'd show up at schools and offices with a truckload of donuts. Thousands of donuts up at a time. All over his area. And now, in addition to bringing that joy, he's working on a documentary. And I just saw the pieces of it. I'm looking forward to the documentary. I'm just looking forward to the pieces because one of the things that came through, and the reason I bring it up, is the thought with the feeling piece that goes like this. He said, I pay more attention now to everything than I ever did before the diagnosis. The pitter-patter of my children's feet, my daughter's feet. I hear every footstep. A pattern, something we've talked about a lot, is I want to gain in awareness of what is going on in my world. And that's what he's paying attention to consciously. Can I humbly suggest you do not need a diagnosis to do that? Sometimes it helps to focus because you think the end is near, which is really kind of silly because there is no end. There is no beginning, there is no end, there just is. And I will transfigure from one phase of my life to another. Because I don't know what the whole picture looks like. I just know what this picture is showing up right now. And oh, by the way, those thoughts and feelings that have brought you to where you are today, while good by definition, also brought with you the slippery slope. I call it that way on purpose. And that is because fear is an insidious little bugger that just slides in. Not noise, quietly. Just quiet. What if? What if? What if? What if I just put a great big thing, fear, up there and went, no. I need to get rid of that, don't I? The what ifs. Because the what if is future that hasn't happened yet. I don't live there yet. The past is behind me. I cannot change it. Where do I need to work? Right here, right now. How? I have to take that knowledge piece, the knowing, and I have to change the feeling of despair to what? Love. Change the feeling of anger, which is fear of loss as a rule. Take the feeling of anger, because I still hold that knowledge. Why is this happening to me? Yeah? We've all done that, by the way. And change it. So I still hold the knowledge piece, but change the feeling that goes with it. I get asked this on a regular basis when I talk about being in country, is that, in my humble opinion, Vietnam has the most green on the planet. And I've been to a lot of places on the planet, but there is no green, in my mind, like the jungles of Vietnam. Now, was that a really joyful, fun-filled experience for me? Does the word no ring a bell? You'd be incorrect if you said no. I'm incorrect when I say no. Because it was a good experience in a lot of different ways. But it took me a long time to look at some of them and say this was a good thing. And in some cases, there are some pieces of that whole thing that I'm still working with today to shift my feeling about them so I can still hold on to the knowledge piece. I'm changing the thought, right? The knowledge piece, change the feeling about them for me. And when I change the feeling, the whole circumstance changes. When you change the feeling. If I can come out of anger, if I can come out of angst, despair. Wasn't that a dark experience? No, move into the light. But see, people in there with their love ask these kinds of questions. Oh, wasn't that horrible? They don't have a grin on their face when they're saying, but that's what it's kind of like. Didn't you just go through? And then they have a list. Guess what? It's their list. It's their perception on how that may or may not feel. Some of who've been through it, some not. But it really doesn't make any difference because that's not here. I got to go back to the thought. What's the thought? The knowing, knowledge piece, and feeling. And feelings are so important, I want to attach another feeling to it, the big one. So now I have the thought. Now my feelings, I'm going to expand on that. I'm going to give it the power of my word, which will lead to what activities and actions I take, which will bring into manifestation that which I want. When I'm in alignment. When I'm in alignment. If you're having a challenge manifesting, he said, raising his hand, look at the alignment. Are two of these factors in line, thoughts and feelings? They need to be in line with your words and your actions as well. but are they in alignment? Been working with people, and I picked this one up. Stuff shows up when you need it to show up. Individual had, as a child, a really horrific experience. And within that horrific experience was part of the God help me. And what she heard as she was making that prayer was, even God can't save you, from the human side. What do you think she held on to? God can't save you. Okay? Throughout her life, made a lot of changes, has worked through a lot of things, says on a regular basis, through God, all things are possible. Oops, that's my word, but what is the underlying thought? Okay? I'm not in alignment. And because the underlying thought is not in alignment with my words, I don't get the result I want. It doesn't show up the way I think it should. So I need to run it backwards. This was huge, by the way, to be able to look at an underlying thought that you're holding on to, in this case that she was holding on to, that seems to prevent her from moving forward. And not that she hasn't moved forward throughout her life, she has a ton, and overcome a ton. But that underlying thought was still there. What underlying thought are you holding on to? Let me go back to my Vietnam experience. Anybody want to know why I went? By the way, at the time it was volunteer. I didn't say it was a bright decision. I just said, yeah. Okay. Part of the reason I ended up there is I needed to find out for me why events in my life had transpired the way they had. I needed to identify that it wasn't the military that was a precursor to the events of my life. I even went through the experience of malaria to prove to me that it wasn't that experience either that led to these events in my life. I had to, for me, go through the experience of war to prove to me that it wasn't war that led to these experiences in my life. They were just events. They were part of my experience. And that's all. That's the knowing. Now I can change the feeling. And that's what I've been doing, is changing the feelings. Everything that has occurred in my life, every experience that has occurred in my life is for me. It's not about someone else. It's not even about the circumstances that show up in my world. So for those of you who think that God's giving you a test, no. Just saying. These are experiences so that I have the opportunity to identify who I am and live from there. Oh, by the way, all the stuff that you've gained all your life, you get to carry it with you. And it shows up. I was sitting at home the other day, and I think I shared with most of you that right at the end of December, when I had that stroke, that I had what they called sheer vision. And what that means is that the whole left periphery disappeared. Okay? Now, the doctor says, you have got great eyes, one on each side of your nose. I went, yay! And they work perfectly. Okay? They're working perfectly. So then what's this? Well, the brain that interprets what the eyes see was on strike at the moment. You know all that good living you did for the last 68 years? Wasn't quite that. That was when the clogged artery happened. That's enough. So the brain that interprets all of this was having some issues. Okay? So I've been working with those. I have to tell you, it's a lot of work to consciously work with all the nerve impulses on half your body and provide direction. Pay attention! That's the anger piece I'm shifting. Right? Including the why did this happen to me? I had to shift out of that too. Doesn't matter why it happened to me. What it did for me goes back to the knowing, with the feeling that goes with it. What it did for me is I am in the process of doing something that I could not have done, maybe, on my own, and that is knowing how to make this work better. And so I'm sitting in my chair at home, and for some reason, things are really great, by the way. I can see Steve over there going, nah, 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 nah. He's not doing that. For those of you who just looked, he did. It's back, yes? Okay? So the brain is beginning to interpret what the eyes are beginning to see in a good and healthy way. Yay! But every now and again, I feel the darkness. Watch this. And see the darkness. And I could live there. Here's what I mean by that. Oh, poor me. If I suffer in silence, they will come by and pat my head. Oh, Rob, we love you. Which you do, and thank you, by the way. But I could live in that place. And I was mentioning earlier that it's insidious. It slides in real easy. And that's in essence what it's not fast, it just kind of does, right? What I'm learning to do quicker and quicker and quicker is when the darkness comes is to say, stop. Who are you? And this is what comes to me. I am a beloved child of God. Let's take that statement together. I am a beloved child of God. Again, I am a beloved child of God. It is the truth of you, whether you recognize it or not. And then being Rob, I add this, and the still small voice said, in whom I am well pleased. And in that moment, out of the darkness, I stepped into the light. Right? So the knowledge piece has now had the love piece attached to it. And it's going to shift. Again, why? Because I'm carrying a lot of stuff with me that needs to be healed. So the recognition with the knowledge piece, being able to attach a different feeling to it, changes the whole world. For me. And when it changes for me, I get to share it with you. Which is why I ask you to give me questions, because that sparks thought. And it kind of requires me to really pay attention to what it is I'm saying, which means I have to do it. Right? Sometimes we feel that way. No, but it's good for me to be able to express the truth of who I am, to reach into those who have come before. Some of whom are still on the planet and some who have left a long time ago. And it's okay. One mind. God is all. This one that is all is perfect life, love, intelligence, and substance. And you and I are expressions of God, and therefore one with. Here's a piece of knowledge that you get to attach feeling. The knowledge is the truth of you. I am a beloved child of God. How do you feel about that? As your feeling moves more from disbelief to love, to the truth of who you are, your expressions will change. Your manifestation will change. Our world will change. It already has, because you held the thought. Doesn't take very long. You just get to choose what step you get to take next. Take this one. I love you. Together. I love you. Take this step. I bless you. Together. I bless you. Take this step. I appreciate you. Together. I appreciate you. Now take a giant leap off the cliff and fly. I behold the Christ. Together. I behold the Christ. And in the words of our friend Emily Cady, it is done.
Thank you for listening. Please feel free to pass this message along to your friends and family. You can obtain additional audio tapes or CDs by visiting our website or by calling our office at 541-772-6902. We invite you to join us in prayer. We know that prayer works, and now you can send your prayer request to our prayer team here at Christ Unity Church by using the form on our website. The activities, programs, and services of this ministry are presented on a love offering basis. All gifts, regardless of size, are gratefully accepted. You may participate either by sending your gift to Christ Unity Church, 540 North Holly Street, Medford, Oregon, 97501, or by visiting us on the internet at www.unitymedford.org.